take it.
Our national security mission is equally as important. Anyone that wishes to do harm to our way of life and our citizens here or abroad will face the full wrath of the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And if you seek to hide in any corner of this country or any corner of this planet, we will put on the world's largest manhunt and we will find you. And we will decide your end state, not you.
Wow.
The fire, bringing the fire. What's going on, Stormbringer? Look, Dave Knott and Callie's in here. What's up there, Nina and John?
Hey, William.
Andrew. Hey.
We got Nina here today. Thank you for showing up, Nina.
Andrew's here.
Appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah.
I love being around you guys. I always learn stuff.
All right. Well, this is just kind of an open forum. We're going to just talk about stuff that's been happening, what's coming up, and this, that, and the other thing. So
this, that, and the other thing.
Cash Patel.
I'd like to bring something up first before we start.
Okay.
And that is, if you hear some water running over here, that is my tower garden right there.
Okay.
I want to say that up front because the last time my mic picked it up, somebody accused me of doing something very personal while I was sitting here on the video.
Well, are you like what's sitting on one of those like potties that are like a chair, and you're just using the potty chair while you're on camera?
Yeah.
That's what somebody asked me. I was like, oh my gosh, maybe I should go ahead and, preface this and tell you what's going on before somebody brings it up and feels the need to ask.
I wonder what it would sound like if you pooped in the potty chair while you're peeing. You know how it makes like a flop noise, like a pancake.
William, I have never wondered that.
That's William. That's William for us. So anyway, back to the question. What do you think about Cash Patel and what's going on with his new position? Been in for a day now, 2 days?
Well, it's the same thing I thought about with Trump, which is I know that they're going to do really well, but how much pushback are they going to get, and how much can they get done considering the pushback? Because Trump's done some great executive orders, but a lot of them have been put on hold because of the fact of leftists and activist judges. So what will happen in the FBI with all the corrupt people underneath them that won't follow orders and stuff?
Right.
It's gonna be very interesting.
Yeah, well, that would give him more reason to clean house.
Yep.
Hey,
but I've never seen where somebody's fired, but then a judge steps in and so you're not firing this person. Like, whoa, hold on a minute. That'll be the same thing with FBI people. Watch and see. Like Cash Patel will get rid of some people, and then they'll go to a FU judge, and the judge will go, no, you got to leave them on, and this is where there's a if you remember when Biden was in office, right there towards the end of his tenure, he put in a lot of activist judges right there at the last year or so. A lot of under the radar, didn't get and because I think he knew that there was enough movement that Trump may win, and so it was in their best interest to go ahead and they took out some judges, brought in some judges, and a lot of these judges were all activist judges. They took an oath to abide by the machine, not the American people.
How many was there? Like 300-400?
325.
That's a lot.
I think.
Yeah, it was a lot of them.
A lot.
It was
what
a
about
lot.
Trump? What is he doing? Is he going to take them out, put conservative judges back in, or how's that going to work?
Gosh, trying to get them out without the judge putting a stop to it. That's the problem. I mean, that's really what's alarming about them.
I see.
Well, by
Except
law.
for
Go ahead, Nina.
Go ahead, John. No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say the only one I know of that they are getting out is one who was so biased in the court that they ended up saying, okay, we're starting proceedings against her to get her removed from the bench because she was obviously biased. I don't remember her name. I just saw that the other day, but that's the only one I've heard about that they're really
there are
giving
two
that
that have
much
been filed against
pushback
already.
to.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
two have been filed against by the government, by the executive office, but by the law, I don't see what they're trying to do is they're doing the same thing that they did against Trump and a bunch of other people. They're trying to file charges for something that does not exist. By law, Trump has the power. It's the executive branch that can either take somebody's job or not take the job. Now, whether they want to put a spin on that, they can put a spin on it. But it has nothing to do with what the law says. He has it's called.
And by them stepping in and stopping it, they have become the president.
Right.
They have taken the power of the president.
One thing that they don't talk about at all is you take the FBI itself. The FBI was created by a stroke of a pen by the President of the United States. That's how they came into being. The stroke of the executive office. The President of the United States solely owns the FBI, not other departments, not defense, nobody else, DOJ. It's that. So in other words, if Donald Trump wants to sign an executive order with the stroke of a pen, he can make the FBI disappear just like that. It's by law.
That's interesting.
It is constitutional.
Same thing with the Department of Education.
Yeah, Department of Education is something different too. That's one of the problems that they're having with now. But then once again, it comes at the who is in charge of that particular department. How does it go? In other words, you've got Secretary of State, and then you might have below that you might have the Assistant Secretary of State. In other words, it goes through different patterns. In other words, it might be 4 or 5 people before it reaches the president. So what looks like somebody's in charge of, they're not in charge of it all. It goes right to the executive office where it was created. That's where it is. A lot of these positions belong to the executive branch, not the judicial and not congressional. And even then, when they talk a lot, they don't mention much about the Senate because the Senate does not create anything. They approve. And that's one of the problems that we used to have before when Trump was when Biden was in office. They tried to make it out like the Senate was the all-powerful, entity when it wasn't. It was the Congress. So there you go.
Wow.
Well, what about
and I think because of those activist judges, I think they might end up getting not getting checked in some of the appellate courts. But I think once everything gets through to the Supreme Court, if they take those cases, and I think they will, I don't think it's going to stand up there the way they're trying to. And what I'm saying is that the challenges to what Trump is trying to do, I don't think they're going to stand up once it gets to the Supreme Court.
No.
So Trump's trying to fire this one guy. I can't remember what he was. Chief. Gosh, it was some guy that was involved with the USAID, and he said you're fired, and the objectivist judge steps in and says no, you're not, and then Trump expedites it to the Supreme Court for a speedy trial or speedy whatever. And the Supreme Court rejected under the circumstances that they're not going to get to it right away. See, we could run into that issue as well instead of them actually taking that. So in other words, if Trump tries to do the executive, I think it was, he's got a thing that's going on with the birthright citizenship thing, and instead of Supreme Court ruling on it, they'll just put it on the back burner and not get to it right away. Right. And that's a very alarming thing because. And we've got extremely highly activist judges in the Supreme Court now too, between Sotomayor and stupid Ketchup Brown, who doesn't know what a woman is.
Yeah, don't forget too. Trump is still holding an ace in the hole. In other words, he does not want to do it, but the point he could stack the Supreme Court, add 3 more justices.
Anyway, the only problem is it would work. It'd be fine for us people who approve of Trump, which is 3/4 of America that have very little voice because none of the media represents any of us. But the media would go out and spew lies and propaganda and all the social media networks and how Trump was an activist or did something terrible and packed the Supreme Court to make this happen, and they would act like these rulings were illegitimate and use that as facilitation to create more and more turmoil between American citizens. That's the reason why it would work, but it wouldn't be the smooth way of doing things. And it's sad because, that's the reason why he called the MSNBC, one of those news organizations, a threat to democracy. He actually started turning the words around on them. Yeah, because they are.
ABC is already whether they do AP, American Press, which has been they've been corrupt all along. but they went and filed a lawsuit against the executive branch. That was them.
Yeah.
And but they've got a big problem on their hands now too. Trump, as of today, has banned AP from the White House. So in other words, whenever he's doing any of his speeches or when he's doing his press releases and whatever, they're not going to be present at it.
Now, have they been totally banned from the White House? Because I heard Pam Bondi say the other day, and I think she was in the White House and she was being questioned. And they said, what about the AP being, pushed out of the press room, losing their seat in the press room? You're banning people who go against you. And she said, no, actually, she said they're allowed in for other things, and it is a privilege to have a seat in the press room, and not everybody gets to. We have literally 5,000 news entities that would like to have a seat in that press room, and it's a privilege to be there. We're just not giving AP that privilege because they won't recognize the Gulf of America. But she said, here was the thing, though. She said, they still have access to the White House because they're in this room right now. Their reporter is in this room right now.
Yeah, for now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the AP, actually, it's the Associated Press, right? And that most of the news outlets lean or rely heavily on the AP. I mean, you look at a lot of articles and they go, according to the AP, and or it was on AP, they always revert back to AP. So I think it's a brilliant move. You cut off. It's like cutting the head off of the dragon. You know what I mean? Now all the others have to scramble to so they can't just take it from the AP.
Yeah, they made it very plain at the beginning. We are not going to tolerate news organizations that we know openly lie. And it is a lie right now to represent to the American people that it is not the Gulf of America, because it has already been declared that legally. Apple has accepted it. Google has accepted it. Yep. It's widely accepted. So the AP is just trying to make it sound like something else is happening. That isn't.
Nina, did you hear about the president of Mexico, who's totally not a cartel member, suing the Googles over that?
I did. Yeah, I thought that was pretty hilarious.
I have a question about that, John. Okay, the president of Mexico said, well, we got our sovereignty border here. We don't want you coming in and hurting our cartels. What kind of BS is
that? It's true. He's right. He said she's doing something. She's working to protect the cartels. I heard about that.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody knows that.
She claims she's fighting against them, but and she said her tactic was going to be to work with them for them to step down, because they're not motivated by politics, they're motivated by profit, which is what she said. I don't understand how she thinks, if they're motivated by profit, that she's going to be able to talk to them and work with them.
You have to rebrand. You have to what they need to do is they need a little fancier building and some nicer clothes. We'll just rebrand it. We'll call it Pfizer.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. And in some areas, the cartel literally runs the local governments.
Oh yeah.
So I think she's very much afraid that Mexico doesn't have what it takes to actually fight them. Well, they probably have more money than the Mexican government.
They can't stand it. Their military cannot stand up 2 hours. There's just no doubt about that. Well, what could they do to hurt America? That's what I'm wondering.
They've already done their damage.
Yeah.
I thought it was rather telling that she came out and said something about, now that America is doing this and closed the border and named it Gulf of America, we are worried about the threat of invasion from the United States.
That's done.
And therefore, she's saying that's the reason she's taking some of her action.
What will end up happening is after Trump finally gets the cartel out of the United States, I predict that she'll want the assistance of the United States military. Not maybe not her, but at some point there'll be some need of assistance to because the cartels do run so much of Mexico that it will become sort of like this very like, you'll have your nice tourist cities, that generates money, but there'll be such a stronghold on so many communities that I feel like there'll be a need for the American military to step in to try to suppress or push back these cartels so that Mexico can be liberated from them at some point. I feel like it might not be like now or like, the next month or two, maybe not even the next 4 years, but given the fact that they don't have free reign to run around in America like they used to, they're going to really try to find other places to do that. And, it's going to be a thing because they really do. There's so much of Mexico that's cartel controlled, and it's, wait till you find out about what the Church of Latter-day Saints have been up to. That's going to be a really wild eye opener.
Well, I understand the Pope. He's on his last leg. He's in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the way they phrased it was he is less well today than he was the day before, and he's already in critical condition.
Yeah, he has both lungs pneumonia. So yeah, he's finished. Oh well. But anyway, John.
Yes.
What is going to happen at Fort Knox?
Oh yeah, we were talking about that.
It's I'd mentioned this before. Way back in the late 70s, when I worked for the DEA, I was in Costa Rica, and that was a long time ago. And
what job was that?
Guys, what's that?
What job was that?
DEA.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify. But what had happened was we were like I said, we were in Costa Rica, and one of the guys was with the departments of Treasury, and they started talking about Fort Knox, and he mentioned the subject of that it's empty, and it was, I think, really hadn't paid much attention to it. I thought, well, as long as our government could probably hide it, for a long time. And that's actually a physical possibility that Fort Knox is actually empty. And it would probably send a shockwave across the world to find out if Fort Knox is empty or just mostly empty or just missing a lot of gold. But they've got to find out, because one way or another, something's got to be done. Literally.
Yes. I don't think there's any left.
The last time there was an audit at Fort Knox was 1947.
There you go.
Hey, Shannon.
Really? Wow.
Hey, Shannon.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. You were muted.
My audio is breaking up on y'all's end. I guess it's my Bluetooth. I don't know. Can y'all hear me well, or?
You're fine right now.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm having audio issues. This is the second time, so it is what it is.
You're a little warbly.
I got to buy a better microphone.
Yeah.
Well,
but good to see everybody.
Good to see you too, Shannon.
Minutes and say hello. See how everybody was doing today.
Hello, Shannon.
All right.
I would like to, Dave. How about saying howdy to the folks out here?
All righty.
We got Ryder.
Oh yeah, we got Cindy Z out there, Stormringer, AC Cruz.
Donald.
I see Carrie jumped in.
Yeah, Carrie.
Yeah.
Hey, Carrie.
Yeah, and Donald Williams is there.
AC.
Appreciate everybody jumping in and joining us.
Here. Yes. Yes. Hey, like I said, I personally myself on the Fort Knox, there ain't no more gold. It's gone. It's history. That's why they don't want nobody going in there and checking it out, especially now with DOGE. They said they're going to go bust it open and take a look. Well, they're finding it.
Oh, I know. So, what about all the property that's being sold in your state? There in California.
Got me on that one.
Don't you have some federal property being sold?
Oh, yes. Yes, my favorite lady, Mrs. Pelosi.
Wait a minute. I've actually got that clip. Come to think of it.
Yeah.
Let me show you guys this.
You'll love this.
Yeah. All right. Boom, go.
The White House is looking to sell the Nancy Pelosi Federal Building on 7th Street and the century-old building at 50 United Nations Plaza. The Trump administration says it will save money by avoiding maintenance on the buildings, selling the properties, then leasing office space for federal workers. Former Congresswoman Jackie Spears says it's just about vengeance.
It's another example of how he's coming after Democrats, he's coming after California, and it's all about payback.
Also targeted is a federal building in San Bruno that stores National Immigration Archives. The building is named after Congressman Leo Ryan, who was killed during the Jonestown Massacre in 1978.
Wow. All right.
Yes, let's put it to you this way. I believe in this. What goes around, guess what? It's going to come around. It's coming around now.
Reports that
buildings are named after dead people. Pelosi's not dead.
No, but she should be.
She just looks it.
There's something wrong here.
Yeah, Nina.
Sorry, guys.
But anyway, what else?
That went haywire. I kept pushing it, kept going on and off.
What else?
The question really is he closing any other federal buildings and doing the same thing in any other states? And I guarantee you he is.
Oh yeah.
So I think it's pretty obvious.
Nina, question.
Well, it just
out of it.
kind of looked like payback, though. At the same time, I mean, he picked that first.
I have a theory about Fort Knox. Our government likes to turn our gold into bonds. Can you hear me now? Hello? Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. Yeah, we hear you.
Okay. I think Fort Knox is not full of gold anymore. I think it's full of paper. I think it's full of bonds. I think our government at one point started trading our gold for other things. And instead of stealing the gold and somebody being held accountable for being a thief, they can say, well, they're surety bonds for the war or God knows what they spend it on. But I almost guarantee you, instead of us having pallets of gold in there, we're going to have file cabinets full of bonds. That's what I believe is going to happen. Just on it early. If anybody has any insight on that or enlightenment on that, I just think that's a very good possibility. And I haven't heard that too many places.
You're really breaking up bad, Shannon. Sorry. Yeah, just real bad.
Yeah.
Personally, myself, I kind of got it. But hey,
I know that. But this morning when I got up, I had to dig for gold.
You had to dig for gold.
You got all the gold there, William?
Yeah, I was picking boogers. That's what the Fort Knox is. They're open the door and there'll be a bunch of boogers.
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
You walk in there to be guards just going like this right here.
Carrie's bringing up a good point. The FBI is moving to Redstone Arsenal right here in my city. 500 of them. Cash is sending them here. I have to tell you, I mean, I'm glad he's breaking up the FBI office in D.C. I have mixed feelings about having that many of them there in my city.
They get kind of bored. They got to find something to do.
You got to cut them off.
Well, this is a cybersecurity hub, so I understand it, but yeah.
Okay, let's move on. How about California? Has anybody got any opinions about what's going on over here?
Well, for one, sounds like Newsom is caving to Trump, making the state anti-Trump, but at the same time, he's going to bow down and give in because he wants a bunch of money.
A whole lot of money. And yet, Trump doesn't want to give it. Well, his associates doesn't want to give it to him. Gee golly, I wonder why. All that money he's had into the rail system, where's it at?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
Years and years ago, and nothing has been built.
nothing's been
But
done.
here's
It's
Trump.
still-
Here's Trump talking about that.
And come down to Los Angeles and also go out to all the farmland that's barren and dry. You know, they have land that they say is the equivalent of the land in Iowa, which is about as good as there is anywhere on earth. The problem is it's artificial because they artificially stop the water from going onto the land. Things in Los Angeles, voter ID so that the people have a chance to vote. And I want to see the water be released and come down into Los Angeles and throughout the state. Those are the two things. After that, I will be the greatest president that California has ever seen.
Well, I can tell you this, Dave. Okay, couple of days after that, hey, bam, somebody flipped the switch. The water, everybody had water. Everybody, the valley here.
Yeah.
But now, guess what? Those ditches are dry now.
It
He's
stopped.
It stopped already. It's already stopped. So Newsom, he's trying so hard to stay into control of everything that he doesn't care about the people. He just doesn't. And you know, I'm waiting day after day. Let Doge come in and clean out this pit of vipers up there in Sacramento.
Andrew, I'm going to move on that point of yours.
Mm-hmm.
You said that Gavin Newsom wants to stay in control, but it would be a lot easier to be able to stay in control if you had the people's support. So obviously there's some sort of, it almost seems like he's being controlled because everything he does, nobody approves of, nobody supports, especially like the American people wise. But you know, think about the China stronghold that is in full effect with California, at least a good part of it. And you know, it makes you wonder, like, hey, if the water was on, everything was flowing, people were happy. It didn't take long for people to get happy, like, yay, water's working, and now the water's back. Who's
calling those shots? There's a single family that's calling the shots here. What's going on in California with the water?
Oh, I know. Yeah, the Pritzkers. Not Pritzkers. It's
but they're the ones that's calling the shots, and they got big money. That's what's calling the shots. And by the way, Dave, you got that video with that with Trump getting on that case of that one.
Maine.
From Maine.
Well,
I got more to
has
say
complied
about that.
immediately. By the way, that's good. But I understand Maine. Is Maine here? The governor of Maine?
Yeah.
Well, are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
We are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding.
See you in court.
Every state, good. I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one. And enjoy your life after governor because I don't think you'll be in elected politics.
That's right. She's done. She's fried. She's cooked. Because I understand that he's already took her money away from her government or her state.
Yeah, and the weird thing is the Department of Education is actually investigating her now, and she has strong ties to. Her brother is an attorney and works for a company that he started called Mills and Mills Attorney, and there was some. Growing some of the weeds involves somehow it's been China's involved. There's big money coming out of China going into their hands through weed grows. Look that up. Pretty strange.
Strange, yeah. And you know something? I understand. I just found out this morning that Doge, I think it's Doge. Anyway, they're going to come in and they're going to put the clamps on this rail over here. This money pit of a rail. I thought Trump was going to do that himself.
Well, he can't technically. I think he has to have people that do that.
It is being investigated, though. Yeah. But Andrew, I want to know what's your take on the scandal with Karen Bass, that leaked phone call that proved that she knew before she left that there was,
I love it. I love it.
You know, last week she was whining about, well, we're going to do an investigation to find out why I was allowed to go to Africa when they knew that there was danger.
She knew.
Yeah, James O'Keefe
caught
got
her
her.
on a phone call. I'm sorry. Go ahead, John.
No, I just said James O'Keefe was the one that caught her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. They got her on a video, on a phone video. Hey, you knew about what's going on, but she still went anyway. She told them, well, just come up with some excuse to tell the people, or Biden, if he calls, just come up with some excuse, that I went out of town for the people here in California. She knew about the storm coming right from the get-go, before she left. But yet, she still left anyway. Hey, let's go live it up, everybody. Got to go up there and care about other people besides the people here in California. And she puts the blame on the fire chief over here. So she goes, I want to drop you in rank. She didn't fire her.
Isn't that the one that supposedly was stabbed multiple times and her wife is missing? Can't find her wife? Isn't that weird?
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. I hadn't heard that one.
Yeah,
I wondered if that was the same fire chief that she had already taken millions of dollars away from their budget.
Yep.
And then is trying to complain, trying to tell us that, oh yeah, they're fully equipped and able.
Well, whatever.
I'm going to find that. I'm going to find that article real quick. And by the way, Jory Reid show's being canceled. Bow.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
We done that earlier.
Now to get rid of the View.
Yeah, a lot of things are changing out there in the mainstream media, or what's left of them, that you might say.
It's only been a month, guys. It's only been a month, and look at all this stuff's gone on.
Oh yeah.
Ain't it great?
Rapid change. Yeah. Well, I think it's brilliant that he's moving so fast, doing so many things. It's hard for them to keep up. If he was just doing one thing at a time, it'd be easy to fight all these little battles. But now we're kind of dividing their efforts up in multiple streams.
Well,
what I love about this the most is he is setting the standard. He did it in his last term. He's doing it in this term. From now on, the American people will know that the wheels of government do not have to turn so slowly. It is possible to get things done faster than this. And from now on, hopefully, they'll be expecting it.
Yeah.
So much is changing. It's unbelievable how fast he's running. I give you that. I mean, look. He fired his chief military. What's his name?
Wait a minute. I think this thing. This is
Charles Brown.
Well, check this out.
That's my girlfriend. Everybody, leave her alone.
No, this is that supposedly fired fire chief in California. I think this.
Do y'all remember this woman, California Fire Captain Rebecca Marotti? Well, during the California wildfires last month, she was in the news quite a bit. One, for the tireless efforts she put forth trying to fight the fires, but also because she was called a DEI hire. Well, she's dead. She was found in her home with multiple stab wounds, and nobody's yet been arrested. Now, here's what we do know. She was off duty at the time of her death, and they believe that the person who did this to her was somebody she knew. They are ruling it as a homicide and saying that it could very much be part of a domestic violence attack. Now, when first responders arrived to the scene, it sounds like she was still alive. They began life-saving measures immediately, but ultimately she succumbed to her wounds and was pronounced dead at the scene. I can also tell you that they haven't named a formal suspect at this point in time, but they are looking for her wife, who they've not been able to find, locate, or have heard from. Anyways, this is something that I will try to keep watching, keep you guys up to.
When did this come out?
This was 3 days ago.
They're still investigating it? Wow.
I reckon so. Let me see here. So one thing to always remember.
They have a suspect.
Well, here's the deal. I've been around this planet a little while, and I've met I know women who are like, I'm done with men. I'm going to be with women now. And then they find out that women can be way meaner than men. I know I can't. when it comes to domestic violence, most of you will find out that lesbian couples, a lot of it goes unreported, but man, they beat the crap out of each other. They will like, it's bad. It is real bad. Oh man, it's bad. But like the most of the time, they're way more jealous. They're way more controlling. Like whenever the dominant one in the relationship, whichever one that would be, they're way more controlling. They're way more jealous. They're way more eccentric, and it turns violent really quickly. So this is something that does not surprise me because I've seen it happen many, many times. And then I'm like, you were way safer with the dude. The worst thing the dude did was just cheat on you. You go, I got cheated on. Now I'm going to go to women, and they go to women, and they like, they're broken arms. This situation right here, things like that. So it's just something to think about. If y'all want, if anybody out here in the comment sections wants to go Lebanon, you just get ready to get the crap beat out of you. All right. Anyways, that's fun. Yep.
All right.
Time. Hey, question. I understand Newsom. He's on his hands and knees right now, begging for a whole lot of money. But what's it for? Does anybody got
He wants to do zero-turn mower with the new Time Cutter series by Toro with the suspension seat.
Well, I thought it was all they needed some kind of intervention for the fire situation and so forth, and that he's leaning onto the federal government to try to get that funding. And then, of course, now the government doesn't want to give it to him because they want to know what the hell's happening with all the money. And so they want them to be responsible for what's being given to them. So they're going to need a little more accountability. And of course, now the money will come with strings attached, voter ID and, get rid of all the sanctuary city stuff, all those things got to go to the wayside.
We need voter ID and paper ballots. It's cheap. It's cheaper.
Yeah,
Trump said it's cheaper.
Yep.
They said you'll save a ton of money. There'll be so much money saved. It helps to really rule out the ability to cheat when you have, honest poll workers, paper ballots, with watermarks that can be traced.
Their own. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I hope they if they get the loan, I hope Trump throws this into the fire too. Well, you know something? Maine, they just got chewed out for the DEI. Well, nothing's changed over here in the school. They're still pulling the same crap like Trump wasn't even there.
Yeah.
Kids.
Well,
that ain't right.
True.
There's a lot of things that got to change. And then the PUC people, I'm telling you, the Public Utilities Commission here, California Public Utilities, they are controlled to take care of the people here. They're supposed to be watching over everybody's bills. They're supposed to help the people, but they're helping the utility companies to raise their rates every year, 6 times.
It happens everywhere, Andrew. PUC started out as a good idea to protect the consumers, but it's actually turned around and it's kind of like a tool for the utilities to justify. They just say, we're going to do this, this, and this. And they submit it to the PUC and they go, okay. And just by the fact that they give their approval, as long as it fits certain parameters, and the parameters are as wide as they are tall. I just went through a deal here in Texas when I first got here. That I landed here, and all of a sudden the whole neighborhood is in a fight with the water department. So I signed up with the PUC and got all the emails, and I became one of the people on the class action suit. And it's just it felt like we were railroaded, like we really didn't have a voice in it. And they literally doubled the water when I moved in. It was already high and really cruddy water.
Mm-hmm.
A lot is changing here in California, that's for sure. It's going fast, and I don't think Newsom's he's not doing enough, to really say, "Hey, I'm helping you, Trump." And basically, he's still fighting Trump on everything in every corner. So, I'm waiting for DOGE to come in and just clean out these pit of vipers. That's all they are, just a pit of vipers. It's a sad fact, a shame, the way California is being run. It's being run straight into the ground, and they don't care what the people think or say. And that goes for Bass. You know, she thinks firing that fire commissioner or fire chief, whatever, is going to help her. Bass is finished. She's done. Everybody knows the truth. This video, or I'm sorry, not video, that phone call that they got the recording of, it's proof. More proof that she just doesn't care and she's not qualified.
Okay, so did you see that report on NBC? Did you see it on ABC? Did you see it on CBS? And MSNBC? No. So you're sitting there telling us about that. Well, there's proof. Well, yeah, I know a lot of people that are, looking for that kind of media. We find out, but the mainstream media that hadn't heard that. Somehow, some way, it needs to get into the mainstream media and report it on, and then everybody would know.
Exactly.
Well, I don't know. The mainstream media is becoming less and less mainstream. They're becoming more and more irrelevant by the day because there are so many independent
but more
organizations that are that are growing in leaps and bounds and being heard.
But they still have a huge audience.
Got a long way to go.
And obviously most left-leaning or people who just don't care, they don't care about it. They just they watch their news, they go on out about their day, and that just builds their belief systems as they go from what they hear.
Now,
they're not really.
This is my 2 cents worth, but sometimes I think that we're actually helping them stay alive, even though they're on their last breath, because we keep talking about how they covered something and how wrong they still are, etc. and I'm like,
how
if
do
we
we
quit
know?
talking about them, they would probably go ahead and die a natural death.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
CNN is still running. Then MSNBC, they're going through a lot of changes, but still they haven't done enough to really give for me to watch them. What the hell with them? I'll never go over there. That's for the mainstream media. I'll never trust them. ABC, CBS, NBC.
They're just like everything else. They're going to try to have to work on getting the American trust back. Just like the government's trying to do that right now. So, yeah.
That's true. But anyway.
And I don't think we'll ever have full 100% trust because we know there's bad guys on both sides, of the aisle. So,
I think the difference is, though, we want to be able to trust our government. I don't know that anybody really cares about being able to trust MSNBC.
Government's really screwed up to the point where nobody's going to ever trust them. I mean, it's not going to be, at least not in my generation. That's the way I see it. But anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead, John. I've been keeping you out of this.
No, I'm fine. Everybody's doing good.
Really? Kicking ass. Yeah.
What about you, Slim? How things at work?
Everything's good, man.
This way. It's all working out right now. And it's like I said, things are going to be a little messed up for a while because we're going in every which way direction. You've got Bondi going one way. You're going to have Cash Patel going another way. Tom Homan going another way. In other words, and they're spreading out. In other words, it's like somebody said a little earlier. They're going to get hit on so many different fronts. They aren't going to know which way to turn, and they can't keep up with it.
I love.
And they don't have the big backings, the big bucks like they had 4 years ago to go after us in the courts. They don't have it.
Well, that's the whole reason. That's the main goal with the Department of Government Efficiency is just pulling back money that's not that has been fueling that machine. And that's the reason why they've been able to. Has Mark Elias actually been working pro bono? Where's Mark Elias getting all this money from to run all these lawfare cases to do what he's done? And something doesn't add up. It's like a calculator in the shade. It just doesn't add up.
It'll start drying up.
Well, the more things that start coming out once the Epstein files get out there, which is 10 days away, less than 2 weeks. Once that's out there, some of the names are going to be rocking and socking. I've already seen things already too where they're getting ready to get to Adam Schiff. They're ready to attack him because it said, according to that pardon that he's gotten, that's only for his part in the J6 committee. That has nothing to do with him committing perjury. It has nothing to do with him doing the other crimes that he's done. He's wide open for those. He's not been granted a complete pardon and all that. And that's why he's getting so upset about everything. And you take a look at some of these other people that are out there, they would not be screaming as loud as they have been day in and day out unless they're really guilty of something.
Yeah.
Literally. They're trying to convince people. You see some of these where the Democrats have got, a little cluster of people out. They've got no more than 35, 40 people out there at one time. And most of that is media trying to pump it up. They don't have the backing for it. And they're getting caught sooner or later. And they're going to have to defend against this. And that just adds to the big mind.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
This is I want that to stay out. This here is Janet Mills at a Pride Portland drag show.
My favorite show.
Yeah, that's it's just let me see here. Where's this at? Kind of rolling into this. This was the thing I was showing you earlier, where she's in, her brother's involved in that illegal Chinese marijuana grow, and then where was it at? Oh well, there was another, but that was just, to me, it's quite strange where we're at. That's all. I just was showing you that thing. It makes you wonder why she's so adamant about. And she looks like a dude.
Yep. Dave, Ryder's got a question.
Ryder?
Yes, sir. Stormbringer.
Oh, Stormbringer.
This is Ryder.
What?
Yeah, he was asking about Epi Island. It's that's what we were talking about earlier.
Well, but that she was. I would say, and you don't do it on a Saturday or a Sunday. You do it on a Monday. That's when you want to drop something like that, because if you do it on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, it gets lost in the news cycle by the first of the week. So it needs to be dropped on a Monday. There needs to be a little bit of a build-up for it. So give it a few days to do that, and then that's why it'd be the 10-day marker, because we got to build this up. We got to make it a thing. And plus, too, when you do that, that typically will get a lot of these people that are possibly incriminated by this to start doing their weird thing where they scramble and get out in front of people and go, "Get your musty hands off our money, you crazy moo, 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 moo." So
will this be an unredacted when we see it?
They haven't said it.
Yeah.
I saw an interview with Pam Bondi yesterday. I think it was on Fox News. And they asked her about the Epstein client list. And she said, we're going to be releasing that in the next couple of weeks. It's actually on my desk right now. Yeah. And he said, all right, assuming you've already skimmed through it, is there any shockers in there?
Yeah. That's
shocking revelations. And her answer was no. Now, you can take that two ways. That either means, I wasn't surprised by anything I saw there, which is very disturbing, or it wasn't as bad as we thought.
Well, Bill Gates.
Want to take a guess which way it's going to go?
I'd say she's just not surprised by some of the names she's seen on there because they look like little diddlers.
I think that's probably true, too.
I mean, a lot of people, we already assume that Barack Obama's been there. We already assume Bill Clinton's been there. Bill Gates has been there. We already assume a lot of things we've been told, this supposedly have been under the covers on that stuff. And that's not going to be a shocker to us. Go like, well, guess what? Bill Gates is on the list. Well, guess what? We weren't surprised with that one. But I think you're probably going to, and even Oprah. I have a feeling Oprah's been there too. It's just all these
and I was hearing speculation that Ellen DeGeneres is going to be on that list.
Oh gosh, yes. Yeah, Ellen's
no, pardon me, not that list, the Diddy list. That's the one.
No, there's no Ellen. There's some ties to Ellen to Epstein. Big ties. Big ties.
Because
And and Jay-Z, and then there'll be you're gonna find out that what's that chick that has that show where she got what was her name? Was on it has that show where she gets on her knees and was like, "We need you to be Kamala Harris." Drew Barrymore. So you're gonna find out. You're gonna find out.
Drew Barrymore,
Yeah. You're gonna find Jennifer Lopez. She's got ties to all that, even though there's ties to her and Diddy. But these people all ran together. This was a big criminal syndicate. You'll find out. I hate to say it, but the ever so beloved Christina Aguilera. You're gonna find out she was into that stuff. Yep. All that stuff. Big stuff.
There's gonna be a lot of people.
Anybody
involved?
Cindy's asking what will happen with the Obama birth certificate.
Right.
Nothing. It's too late.
They have proof that it's fake.
Yeah, big time. That's trending again. But the only thing that does is it just keeps the Obamas from becoming any bigger than what they are. I don't think anything's going to happen because everything's done. He's already did his presidency. He's scaved out of that. But what it's doing is it's enabled it's not letting them grow their legacy. Mm-hmm. It's not going to let them become anything any bigger. It should prevent any of the Obama stuff. Be like, wait till you find out about the two daughters that aren't legitimately theirs. That's going to be that's real. That was a thing. That was a PR stunt. The whole thing was a big PR stunt. Oh, just like Taylor Swift and Travis Clee. That was PR stunt. They were never together. That was all contractual. There was leaked documents between the attorneys. And the bad thing is, after the leaked documents came out, they were going to end the relationship back in November, but they had to keep it going to make it look like it wasn't that. And they're all this. It's a mess. It's huge. And this is just what it is the Hollywood's machine slowly starting to fly apart because little nuts and bolts keep wiggling loose. And the veil will be lifted eventually, and there's a void that'll have to be filled at some point. I don't know what fills that void, but I feel like trying to acclimate. And maybe it's the meta, maybe it's the forceful implementation of some kind of AI that will fill the void of Hollywood. I'm not really sure, but as it flies apart, something will be there to take its place.
Yeah.
Will we see arrests? I doubt it. Yeah, I doubt we're going to see any arrests with the Obama birth certificate, although I would love to. And I think there could be a case that could be made because basically he had to be falsifying, his proof of citizenship and government documents. However, there is nothing in the Constitution that really says much about how we vet the president. That's what I would like to see changed because of this.
Yeah. Well, Trump made the comment years ago that he wasn't a legal citizen. That had been blowback for a long time, and people were like, "Oh my gosh!" But what would be really, 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 really cool is if they were able to find out the documents were falsified and they deport his ass. That'd be funny. Oh my gosh! Not even a legal citizen. That would be epic. But that's just a pipe dream.
There is a whole village in Africa that claims him as a native son. There are people there who say they remember when he was born there. So he'd have a place to go.
His mama was a hooker.
There's one other thing that's a little bit on the disturbing side.
It's for real.
It goes all the way back to the 60s. It goes all the way back to the 60s. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was just saying Obama's mama was a hooker.
I didn't know that. Well, probably. Yeah. I would.
No, that's the thing.
What were you saying, John?
It goes all the way back to the 60s, and you can kind of say that it was a little bit prejudicial, but people, when Muhammad Ali went from Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali, only the people that really were in the know about his boxing abilities and knew what he was really after didn't bother calling him all sorts of names, but still just the same. It was a Muslim type name, Muhammad Ali. And then after all that garbage went through, they put him in prison and the whole 9 yards. All of a sudden it comes up for a new guy's coming up for president by the name of Barack Obama. Now that wasn't just too many years after there was Osama bin Laden. Now stop and think about it. Most Americans, most people in America are not worldly. They don't know what a person looks like that's a Muslim. They don't know what a person looks like that's a Mexican. They just know what they hear. And it sounds like it's Arab, then it's Arab. And that was the one thing that I remember people saying is, Barack Obama, how could you vote for him? And then when you find out he's black, they're going like, he's a black Muslim? Oh, God, we're going to go through this all of a sudden again? And a lot of people were, but yet they voted for him because he was a slick talker. And this is what had happened. So it just goes to show that Americans will go against their own feelings if there's enough money put up there to make them do so, because it's all in the advertising. Everything is in the advertising. That's the reason why California has it.
Yeah, it's not just the money, though, either. It's because so much of the narrative, especially from the left, was talking so much about the guilt that America bore with being colonialists and with slavery and et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
So how they understood in a way that I think we didn't, because we fell for it. They understood that if we put up people who are part of those oppressed communities that we're telling you were our oppressed communities, if we put them up, how can you criticize them? Because then you will look like a racist or whatever. And they can claim that it has nothing to do with their incompetency or their politics, that it has everything to do with their skin color, which he did claim. If they're not voting for me, they're obviously racist.
Yeah, but you have to look at the bottom line of this. Most of these Democrat quote unquote cities, you take a look at the governor, not so much the governors, the mayors of these cities, the police chiefs and whatever. You take a look around and they're all black. There's hundreds of them that are black female. The biggest common denominator with the biggest troublemakers in our government seems to be black females. And you just got to look at it. You got to look at, just goes to the View, Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Reid. I mean, you look at all these.
Jasmine Crockett.
Jasmine Crockett. That's a for real ghetto broad there. She is for real ghetto. You've got her. You've got, look at Bass, Los Angeles. Then you've got, look at Tenya. Look at Alton in Chicago. You got that Tenya, that 10-yard. That's
Tiffany Henyard.
I mean, just look around.
James Brown, what's her name? Maxine Waters, Mad Maxine Waters.
Maxine Waters, yeah.
And then that makes.
Yeah, but the fact that all of that is true, John, makes it even more astounding that they were able to place the guilt on the American public, and so many of us accepted it.
Latifah. Just Latifah.
Yeah, and we took on that guilt, and we should.
That one lady who just passed away, who thought the moon was made of gas. Remember during the eclipse? What was that woman's name? And she passed away, but she's the one that cussed her help out so bad that he committed suicide. Let's see, that whatever her name was, I can't remember. I could go on for days, but it seems to be the case, that what's that one that got mad because they couldn't vote because in Congress about who was it? My voice is not being Stacey Plaskett. She's a nutcase. Yeah. Yeah. Let's go back a little.
I got one last question. Everybody is saying on the internet that hey, guess
we lost him. So it's black females that are destroying the Democrat Party, literally.
He's going to get that happening, John.
Let's say that again if we lost you there, Mr. Drew.
Say it again.
Gavin Newsom is moving the internet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think they deserve to get locked up after everything.
You got to start back over, Andrew, because we lost your whole conversation. Say that.
No, we lost everything you said.
Oh well, I'm wondering what's going to happen with Cheney, Schiff, Schumer, all these people that needs to get arrested. What's going to happen with them? Is this going to really happen, John?
No.
It's going to happen, but it's going to be slowly. It's not going to be a combination like J6 are going to have, go take on a whole bunch of people. It's going to be one by one by one.
Okay, that's good. At least it's going to happen because, remember, before Biden left office, everybody gets a free get out of jail ticket. That's what I was worried about.
No.
Okay. Well, Okay, folks, that's what I got. That's fine.
Yeah, well, we're just about at the top of the hour. We got about a minute, and we've been on here for a full hour already.
We done really good today. Everybody give yourself a pat on the back.
Yeah.
Nancy Dunk, Stormbringer, Richard, Cindy Z, all great, wonderful people. Who else is in here? Let's see. Yeah, Nancy Dunk.
Nancy says she's in Texas.
Carrie, what's going on? Thank you for being here. Shannon, thank you for popping in too, Shannon. If you're still watching, we hate you having.
Yeah, too bad the connection.
Yeah, stupid connection.
You know, when we have a show out here, you know, when you see us out here, don't be afraid to ask us questions. You know, we'll do the best we can to give you a straight answer. And we're not doing this by script. We're all doing this live.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure they
are obviously not doing.
I think they know that. Yeah, it's not.
So,
all right.
Anyway, I want to say thank you to everybody too, and I have fun. I love having Nina. She's great, beautiful looking.
Thank you,
John. You're loaded with information. William, you're awesome. I like you, William.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You're a lieutenant, and I like that.
He's a man. And Nina, I enjoy watching you there still on the chat session.
Thank you.
Yeah,
you haven't been booted. You haven't been booted yet. They said that damn William is like, they were like, we're going to move a different direction. I was like, yeah, you don't like my Alex Jones stuff.
All righty, well, we better get out of here. All righty, thank you, everybody. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you.